Hello, Curve community.
It's me.
It's me.
Hi.
Hi.
Problem, it's me.
I'm the problem. I do wish I could sing, like, of all the things.
I wish you could sing as well.
I know, sorry. The point of interrupting this podcast before we've even got into it is actually just to ask you a really quick favor. So wherever you're listening to this podcast, it might be Spotify, it might be Apple. If you are listening, but you don't follow or subscribe, it's quite problematic for us. It really doesn't help in terms of getting into charts, in terms of building our audience and that kind of thing. So because there's such a small amount of you that follow us.
2%. 2% of you follow us.
I know, it's very low. And I don't know why. I think it's just that people don't realize it's helpful. So people probably just haven't done it yet.
Or maybe they don't like us.
But why would you listen week after week?
Exactly.
Or even, I don't think it's that.
I hope it's not that.
So, but if you do like the podcast and you enjoy the conversations that we're having and you think that this is something you want to stick around for a while, it would really help us if you could please hit the follow, the subscribe. If you want to leave a review, go for it. But honestly, like the number one thing is just following the show so that all the episodes are downloaded automatically.
Follow us, please.
Yeah, follow us. It takes 2 seconds. That would be amazing.
Like you could have done it by now.
Yeah. Maybe they have done it.
Maybe. Yay. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, and welcome to the Curve Weekly, the podcast that keeps you up to date with all the money, business, and stock market tea.
Everyone should experience first class at least once in their lives, and Annie shouldn't miss out just because she can't afford it. Help me, I'm poor.
I had such a dreamy weekend.
Talk about it. Talk about in your dream weekend.
Oh, Emily, if that word is not beeped out, I'll be so annoyed. That better be beeped out.
Please leave it in, Emily. Please leave it in.
No, because that's not fair. Flower Man gets to have a pseudonym. That's not fair.
Bushman. Oh, that kind of sounds weird.
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, God.
Lol. He actually tried to come up with his own nickname, which I thought was kind of funny. He was
Tall man.
Yeah, well, he's so tall. He's like, I could hold a boom if you ever need one. He's like, I could be your boom boy. I was like, oh. Anyway, I had a really fun weekend. I went to one of those unyoked houses.
Yeah, the cabins in the bush.
Yeah, which you've been to before.
Yeah, I went with a old
flame.
What do you call him, a flame? Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve old flame, actually, even, to be honest, does he?
He dragged his feet going to that. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of gutted I even took you. But
did he not want to go?
He didn't want to go. I was like, it's a cabin in the bush. Like, how exciting. But also, don't come then. I'll go by myself.
What a weirdo. If someone invited me to go to this, I don't know. For me, that kind of a weekend away, you have all the luxuries you need. You have a lovely shower. You've got a really comfy bed. You have all the kitchen facilities you need, all the coffee stuff.
Yeah,
it's glamping, but on steroids in the most beautiful location. We cooked our food on an open fire and literally danced.
There's something quite primal about that,
It was magic. And I just think if someone didn't enjoy it or didn't want to go to something like that, I would be like, wow, there's so many red flags in my face I can't even see, Yeah.
There was. But there was a tiny crack and I was like, that's enough. That's enough.
No, it's so fun. If for anyone that hasn't done something like this before, I actually spent a night by myself, which I thought maybe I'd be nervous because...
I don't think I could...
Well, I stayed on Instagram till about midnight till I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore, and then I slept, which is not really the kind of chic, relaxed life you should be doing while you're by yourself. But I was determined to be there by myself, and it was so not scary. You know you're safe, but there's something so weird as soon as the sun goes down where I'm like as if there's someone creeping around in the forest, But still, anyway. Yeah, well, anyway.
But no, they are very good for the mind, body, soul, to go off the grid and have a night by yourself. I'd love to do more of them.
Same.
How cool would every 3 months,
I know.
Just go into the wilderness and switch off.
I think it's a good reset. It's a good reset for your, just being in nature. I actually got there. This is so classic. You're going to be like.
Got naked.
Yeah. I got there. I was by myself. And I got there and I just thought, oh my God, this cabin's so beautiful. Oh my God, this view's insane. I was just so excited. I took all my clothes off and ran up the top of the hill. I was just looking out at the view this is living. And then I saw this flashlight and I was like, oh, fuck. Imagine if I'm here, nude, and then there's just people coming for a lookout or something. So I was like crouching down, and then it just was the sun, I think, coming through. Not actually, there was no one around.
Well, like kids on a school trip, and they're like, and over here we have a naked lady. Oh gosh. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Anyway, finance news.
But do you not want to talk about your weekend? Did you do anything fun?
Just chilled, very chilled, which was nice. I just didn't really have much motivation to go see anyone or do anything, which was surprising considering I'm about to leave to go back to London.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked by that.
Yeah. No, I just chilled. It was really nice. I did contrast therapy for the first time. Oh my god!
How amazing is it? How long do you reckon you stayed in the ice bath?
I booked in for another one. 2 minutes. Woo!
Me too. And
which is actually the longest 2 minutes ever, I reckon. Anyway, we have Taylor Swift in Australia at the moment. Oh my God, my bloody TikTok algorithm is all Taylor Swift. I'm kind of enjoying it, but kind of getting annoyed.
I had that with Dua Lipa for ages. Every time I'd go into my Explore, she'd be like humping her microphone stand, like something and do. And I was like, God, she's good at this. I just must have kept watching. So the algorithm was like, she loves this clip.
Yeah. Well, Taylor Swift, not Dua Lipa. She's got 7 shows in Australia, and there's all this talk about this little bit of mini inflation that Australia's going to see. So from the 7 shows in Sydney and Melbourne, it's expected to add about $1.2 billion to Melbourne alone, just from the shows in Melbourne, which is nuts. Like, that's people flying to Melbourne. I've had friends that have flown to Melbourne to watch it from New Zealand, to like go to her show. Like, if you think about the accommodation, the flights, the food, the tickets, like all of that stuff is money being poured into Sydney and Melbourne at the moment, which in times of a cost of living crisis is actually a much needed boost for any city, really. So it's having a huge impact, which is great. But what economists are now saying is that like the inflation figure might be quite high for this quarter or this month in terms of inflation. So they're kind of like, don't read into it. It's just the Taylor Swift effect. But I'm just like baffled that she is moving economies. Like, how incredible that one young female can have such an impact on economies, like anywhere she goes. I'm just like, it still baffles me.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what would be the equivalent? Would Queen have had that much of an effect? Or like,
I honestly don't reckon there's anyone in history.
Bruce Springsteen? No?
Taylor Swift, the impact she has on the Super Bowl, the impact she has on the countries she visits for concerts, the impact, like, it just honestly, like everything she touches, I'm just like, wow. Yeah, it's quite crazy. Imagine if she'd come to New Zealand. Well, it would have been quite good, actually. Could you please come down here, because we need to get out of a recession. So we'd really like you to come visit us, Taylor.
If government could just sort that out, that would be really good.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. Christopher Luxon, if you could please just
prioritise the important shit, that would be great.
Yeah, and we would all be in a much better mood as well, because we'd all be rocking out to Taylor Swift.
I have so many.
I really like Bad Blood. Just because there's like so much drama behind it, because now we've got Bad Blood, and it's just like,
yeah, fuck, I love her songs.
Anyway, so Goldman Sachs, have you heard of Goldman Sachs, Soph?
Yeah, but I always think that it's like a fashion brand or something, but it's definitely not, is it?
No, it's one of the largest investment banks, and it's kind of like whenever you think of a broker or Wall Street, you think of like Goldman Sachs. Like, they've been around for 155 years now. They're one of the main investment banks, global investment banks. But anyway, so there is a lady there that has recently left this week, and her name is Beth Hammack. And she was picked to be the next CFO, so the Chief Financial Officer. She's been there for 30 years, and she was on track to be CFO, and she just left this week.
No.
And
why?
This is everyone's kind of asking why. But the fact is that Goldman Sachs, no woman has ever been appointed to the role of chairperson, chief executive officer, president, or CFO of Goldman Sachs in 155 years. So there hasn't been one female leader in that business, and she was primed to be that first woman, and she's just left after being 30 years of climbing her way up. She was set to break that glass ceiling, and she's left. So
why the fuck is she left? And also, can we get her on the podcast? I'm dying.
I know. I would love to know the insight. I think she would have some
Has she said anything? Like, has she gone out to media?
No, not yet. So it'll be interesting to see.
That would be a debacle for them, wouldn't it? Like PR nightmare. So, she would have been the token, well, we've got women in positions of power and now she's gone.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like Goldman's has put out a statement being like, we are all about diversity. We're all about increasing women into global leadership roles and more senior roles. And then they can't even keep one that's been there for 30 years and has got pretty much to the top. So it's quite interesting, scandal. And I'm going to watch this and see what happens. But also, I'm sorry. So this is one of the top investment banks. So they control billions and billions of dollars and invest billions and billions of dollars on behalf of clients, banks, pension funds, superannuation funds, all of that. And to think that they have no gender diversity at the helm of that business, just think of the people that are making those decisions on our behalf of where that money should go and what world what they're going to create for us. Like, I'm just like, we need to change the narrative and we need to hurry up and we need to do it so quickly. Yeah.
Anyway. Oh God. Well, what can we do? Women need to get into banks or just investment banking?
Just in finance and just go for senior leadership roles, but also men in senior leadership roles need to create environments. Right? Yeah, or just create environments for everyone, not just people that look like yourselves or are yourselves, God, it grinds my gears.
I'm not trying to complain anymore, but what I will say is the other day I was at Norma Taps, I think it's called, in the CBD in Auckland, having a beer with an old friend, and the guy who owned the bar came up and was like, hey, I just want to introduce myself. Like, me and my wife listen to your podcast and love what you do, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, shit, that's cool that you're a guy and you're listening to our podcast and you're supporting your wife through her own financial empowerment journey and you're doing it together and there's this collaborative energy. And I know that there are some guys that listen to the podcast, but maybe something that we could do that might help speed the narrative up is like, try and talk to guys, whether it's not necessarily like listen to like a podcast, although that would be epic, but it's more, I think what can be a problem is when you're in an echo chamber of people that already understand the problem. Like, most people listening to this will be women who get it. What we need is guys who don't, to understand and listen,
and realize the impact and
that they can
realize, you realize that it's a collective force. It's not just me against you or you against me or us against them. It's literally, we all need to do this. And I think we all need to be educated about the benefits of having diversity in any situation.
I agree. It's not just to tick a box. The reason why diversity is so important is because collaborative brains and different backgrounds and all of that stuff contributes to a well-rounded company, which means more money, which blah, 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 blah. It's not just as simple as try and make it appear a certain way. It's also, understanding why that's good.
Let's do a whole conversation on this.
Maybe International Women's Day.
Watch this space. In other news, so if I was to say, Soph.
Oh, I love it when you start. I love when you start them like this.
Sake, sushi, cherry blossoms.
Japan.
Yeah. Japan. I love
Favorite
Japan.
Food. Yum. Oh, I can't wait to visit.
Oh gosh, great fashion sense.
Good mountains.
Just like cool people.
Maybe we do
fashion.
A school trip there.
Yeah. Well, we have reason to now because their stock market has been one of the best performing in the last 2 months of 2024. Their stock market has gone absolutely bananas. So
is this because Warren Buffett did something?
There was a bit of that, yes, but it's also just everyone's kind of waking up to the fact that, like, hang on a second, Japan is actually looking quite good now. So if we take a step back, Japan was kind of plagued with an aging population. So people weren't really having children. There was lot more older people, the newborns or younger people. They had very strict immigration, so they weren't allowing workers to come into the country. All of this really fueled into having, I guess, low growth. They weren't producing a lot of output. Their global domestic product, their GDP, which is the way that you measure a country's output, wasn't growing. All of these factors, there was deflation, which means that's not good for an economy because prices aren't growing at all. They're going backwards.
Because they're meant to go up at least 3% a year, right?
Roughly 3%, yeah. To encourage spending and that encourages people consuming goods, therefore more goods getting made, all of that contributes to a productive economy. And so kind of all these other things, the opposite things were happening in Japan. And now that's seeing a bit of a turnaround. And to be honest, a lot of people were like, China's way more interesting. It's much more fast growing. I'll invest in China over Japan. And now China's got its issues from an economic standpoint. And so things are starting to look up for Japan. And so the Nikkei 225, it's like the S&P 500. So it's the top 225 companies in Japan.
The Nikkei 225.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I love this. We've never talked about this.
No, we haven't. Yeah. Their index, so that's their main index, Japan's main index, and it's up, like I said, 20% so far this year in 2024.
Whoa.
And 40% in the last 12 months.
Holy. What are some of the biggest companies there?
Index? Like Toyota, Mitsubishi, Sony. It's a bit more of like an older world index, I guess. There's not the likes of your Amazons or your...
It's not super innovative.
No, it's not like tech focused. So, but surprisingly, so the S&P 500, so the US main index is only up 7% versus Japan's 20%. So people are sitting up and listening going, hang on a second, what's this Japan thing? Should I be investing in it? And
have you invested in Japan?
I have. I've actually invested in a Japanese ETF.
Cool. What one?
I did it when Warren Buffett did.
I love this.
Just being a little copycat investor, which I wouldn't recommend. But
was it just ETF, like a general ETF?
Yeah. So there's iShares MSCI Japan ETF, like on Sharesies, if you know what Sharesies, not financial advice. It's not financial advice.
No.
But yeah, there's lots of Japan ETFs out there because I don't know which Japanese companies are going to do well. I don't have time to research them, but I'm like, you know what? Things are looking pretty good in Japan at the moment.
I love that you're taking Warren Buffett's hot tip. That's kind of what's happening here. This is the first time I've ever heard you doing something like this, actually.
I kind of want to go to Japan. I think I might go at the end of this year.
If you go to Japan, you've got to go home, right? Because it's so close.
It's so close, yeah. Do you know it's the same size as New Zealand? There's a fun fact for you. Yeah.
I didn't.
It's like our sister country.
Oh, what a cool sister. Do you reckon Australia's kind of like the smelly?
I feel like it's like Australia, New Zealand. You have rivalries, but if, like your friends at the end of the day, like a lot of my friends went to Dio,
Can I just also butt in and say that was like the most humbling talk we've ever given, wasn't it? Like to get them to pay attention, you had to basically be like dancing, swinging your hands around. Like it was to keep their attention. It was all go.
It was their lunchtime. Like I would have hated to listen to two girls talk about financial education when I was 15, but bless their hearts.
But at one point I was like, right, I'm going to have to pull out all the stops here. Like no one's listening. So I was like, right, here's an example. This is why you need to invest. I was like, now we look at the two people we both drove here separately. Vic turned up in her beautiful black Audi. What car did I get here in? My red Honda Jazz that quite literally stopped on the motorway the other day. And they were all like, okay, I get it.
That's why you need to invest, kids.
One of them invested, the other didn't. She's still driving a shit box. They paid attention after that, I feel.
Yeah, good ploy, Soph, good ploy. In other news, we've talked about stock splits. So this is when a company's share price does really well, that the company might split the shares in half, but the price of the share halves as well. So you've got an increased number of shares, but the price is lower. So the overall amount you invested is still the same. So this is happening, or about to happen, in the Bitcoin space, in the crypto landscape. Yeah. So Bitcoin is having a halving event.
No.
That's expected to occur in about May. So it's kind of like a stock split, but for Bitcoin. So the thing with Bitcoin and the reason why, or cryptocurrencies as well as in general, is that there's only a limited number that is produced. And so this is why the price increases when people demand it more, because there's only limited supply of coins. And there is a lot of increased volatility. So there's a lot of increased movement up and down in the months leading up to these halving events. So it's just something to be aware of. If we start to see Bitcoin going up and down a lot in the next coming months, that is why, because there is a halving event that is happening.
Halving event sounds real Hunger Games-y.
I know, like, it does, eh? Yeah, like
super weird. Halving event.
The price of Bitcoin is actually up to over $50,000 a coin. It's up 100% since 12 months ago. So it's actually done amazingly well. So we'll probably hear a lot of finance bros talking about Bitcoin now again. This is doing so well. This is what happens with Bitcoin. Everyone talks about it when it's doing well. No one talks about it when it's not doing well. It's that whole FOMO trade, fear of missing out. So everyone just wants to jump on the bandwagon. But
as soon as you hear the taxi driver talk about it,
sell.
Sell. I quite like that analogy. Again, not financial advice.
Yeah, because it means that there's no one else. Everyone's bought it. So who's going to be the next person that's going to buy it? So that's kind of the analogy that we're getting at, is that,
if everyone's bought it, it's going to be the highest it's going to get. So there's no point in buying it because you're not going to make money. You may as well sell.
Exactly, Sophie. Oh gosh,
such
my little protege.
I know. I'm quite proud of that, I must say. Yeah. Even the talks we've done lately, do you find, sometimes they go off on the tangent, but I explain it pretty well.
Sometimes I'm like, that's wrong, but okay, I'll just roll with it.
Actually.
How like you could invest in Disney Plus. You could, and I'm like, it's Disney, it's Walt Disney. It's not Disney Plus.
Fair.
It's semantics. There's nothing like
I'm really proud of you for letting that go. That would have been hard for you.
Yeah. No, but I'm also like, hey, I could just sit back, relax, and
enjoy the show.
Yeah, enjoy the show. Speaking of shows, I hope everyone's enjoyed this show.
Oh my God, because we're on YouTube.
Oh no, I mean this show is in this podcast show.
Well, if you
we're
are
on YouTube.
listening and you maybe want to see, at one point in this episode, I leaned back, chewed a piece of gum, and then spit it out because I'd had coffee.
What?
Yep, you didn't notice, but if someone's watching this video, they will see that.
Oh. They probably saw me pick my nose too.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Someone commented on the Instagram post that we put up being like, we're on YouTube. And someone goes, can't wait to see the facial expressions. I'm like, yeah, that is a problem for me. My face is
got to be really into it all the time.
No, I was going to say mine's too over expressive. Like it could just calm down.
Mine, I just like drift out a bit. And I'm like, come on, Vic, come on.
Yeah, you have more of a resting, but also probably rich face. A little bit.
Is that a compliment? I've got a rich face. Thank you. Don't even know what that looks like, but I'll take it.
You have got a rich face, I think.
Okay. I've got to go.
Okay, bye.
Love you.
Love you, bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to The Curve Weekly. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all the money, biz and stock market news. And if you like what you heard, we would love a review. Thank you.
Yes, we would love a review. But if you did hate it, please, don't leave one if you hate it. No, but in all seriousness, could you please leave a review? Because it really helps other people find our cute little podcast.
And we hope you have a good week and see you next Monday.
Bye.
Bye. Sweet. Yeah. See you next Tuesday. Lol. See you next Tuesday. I mean Monday.
Hey, Vic, I want to bribe our audience.
Oh.
And I know that that's maybe like questionable behavior.
Do it.
The amount of people that follow and subscribe this podcast is so low comparatively to the amount of people who listen every week.
How low?
It's 2%. So if you look at our follows, even on like Spotify, it's like
what?
500 people follow, but then there's like thousands and thousands and thousands that listen every week. And I was like, holy shit. Okay,
Excuse me.
I know. But I don't think people realize how much it helps by hitting the follow button or the subscribe button. And we didn't know till recently either. So if you listen to this podcast regularly and you like the conversations we're having, we would love to ask you the tiniest favor.
Please, please, please click follow or subscribe. Gosh, that sounded very desperate, but we are desperate. we are a bit though. And it only takes 2 seconds and it helps so much. So please. And you also won't miss out on any episodes of our lovely voices, which heaven forbid, you might miss out on an episode and not get the content. Oh, gosh.
Do you know what I've just realized, though? I said at the beginning of this that we'd bribe them. What are we bribing them with?
Click follow or subscribe and you'll find out.
I know what it is. If you hit and follow, subscribe, whatever it's called.
Oh, gosh. What are you giving away?
No. I was just going to mean because it means our show can get better and we can spend more money in the production and we can get better guests and like it just makes such a difference. So if you like the show, It takes 2 seconds to follow, but then what that does in terms of how we can then grow the podcast, phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
So that's the bribe. If you wouldn't mind, we'd really love that. Thank you.